I mean, if we were to look at the statement that was issued by the Gauteng Department of Health, ne? I'm just going to scan through it because it's quite a lengthy statement. So they do mention that they've opened a case of impersonating against this particular doctor, and it also mentions that Lonnie managed to wave his way into the system pretending to be in employ of Helen Joseph Hospital, where he moved around the hospital corridors, curating content for social media. One, we're going to come back to this, but while we're still on that, how does a hospital security allow someone to take footage in a hospital where there's patients? There could be someone who, for example, people who are giving birth, sometimes they walk around naked because of the pains and whatnot. What if that incident happens?
But yeah, on a serious note, so Dr. Mpele is trending, obviously for the wrong reasons. And I think for the reason why I want us to talk about this topic is because of, just to educate organizations, employers, as well as HR people. Because this now, I don't want to tackle it in a sense of what he's done. They've been trending, we know what he's done, but I want to tackle it from a sense of the importance of vetting and making sure that the recruits that you're taking have been vetted correctly.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Couch Talk with LHS. My name is Zanele Buthelezi, aka Zanzi. Today we have Mpele, aka First Lady. We're twisting things around because we don't know. Are you really a director of this company? Bombastic side eye. Anyway, trending topics for today. This week, Dr. Lonnie has been trending, and I just wanted us to just speak about the topic itself, bombastic side eye. There are certain people that we do not know if they've got certain contracts with the company or vetting systems have been implemented. Again, bombastic side eye. Were you vetted when you started here? You're not sure?
I do have a contract with it.
Do you? I've never seen it. Do you?
You're not going to see my contract.
Do you have one?
I drafted my contract. I signed my
You
contract.
drafted your own contract.
I vetted myself.
You?
So is that the reason why I'm taking off my seat?
Yes.
Okay.
Most definitely, especially when it comes to this topic.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so everyone, I'm sure you know by now there's a trending topic, Dr. Lonnie being allegedly a fake doctor. So today we just wanted to educate you in terms of how to do your vetting systems and make sure that you do proper vetting. I'm not sure if yours was done, but we make sure that proper vetting is done as organizations. So
Before we start with the topic, I must add, it feels weird sitting here, right? It feels weird.
it feels weird to sit here also.
I find myself turning to my original camera. I'm sorry. I had to get that out of the way. Then I find myself turning to my camera and I'm like, oh no, you're not there. You are here now. It just feels weird. But yeah, on a serious note, so Dr. Mpele is trending, obviously for the wrong reasons. And I think for the reason why I want us to talk about this topic is because of, just to educate organizations, employers, as well as HR people. Because this now, I don't want to tackle it in a sense of what he's done. They've been trending, we know what he's done, but I want to tackle it from a sense of the importance of vetting and making sure that the recruits that you're taking have been vetted correctly.
Yes.
So what does that mean then in terms of, vetting process? Number one, let's start with policies. Our company policies, including vetting as part of the process for recruitment. Because let's be honest, when we do our recruitment process, depending on the number of interviews you have and who you have them with. You will not be able to suss out a person in an hour or in 3 different sessions. It is not enough. You know, you won't get to understand a person. Yes, you might find things that you're looking for in terms of competencies, in terms of skills, in terms of, you know, are they the right fit for our business? Are they what we are looking for to ensure that our company is sustainable? But there are other things that play a role, right? Because as part of HR in creating the job spec, you also look for qualifications. So how do we then verify those qualifications? Do we just take whatever is given to us as HR professionals, or does our policy, you know, accommodate us going externally in making sure that we use external service providers if we don't have internal systems to verify and make sure that whatever Zanele is presenting is actually the correct documentation. It is valid, you know, and it is like a valid documentation. So I think that is very important, and such situations, unfortunately, they do provide an opportunity to clean up. An opportunity to recreate. Hence, we're saying, you know, people can change policies at any given time based on situations that are happening within the organization. Because even if you didn't have that as part of your recruitment process, now is the time to go back and say, okay, fine, actually, this is serious. This is what we need to have.
I think also focusing on the role of HR. You know, when years back there was a crisis at SAE, everyone was asking, where was HR when everything unfolded? Because it all starts there. It all starts with us as HR people following the right processes and procedures that the company has. And nowadays, I'm seeing a trend also, because we are also doing fingerprints, right? We are fingerprint zone. So I'm seeing a trend of when you have those conversations with the candidates, they already have been appointed. So what is the whole point then of doing the vetting session or vetting process after the candidate has been appointed? Once you find that the candidate has a criminal record, once you find that the candidate doesn't have qualifications, what then happens? Because already you've created certain expectations. You've already given them contracts. Yes.
And in most cases, you might find that there isn't even a clause that your contract is as is.
Pending results.
But even with that, I don't like it as much because people resign from previous jobs to enter. And some people don't even disclose. Because in terms of vetting, we're not only looking at qualifications, we're looking at criminal checks. We're looking, you know, depending on the job. I mean, if you're in finance and you've got a credit record that is not good, it's a bit sketchy and dodgy, you know, in terms of hiring the person. So it is very important to just take time, finalize your process first before you actually make an offer. Getting rid of somebody that is not suitable for your environment is very difficult.
It's easier to get them inside of the working environment, but then moving to now exiting this particular individual, and also lawfully so, the process needs to be followed, because you failed to follow the simplest process of making sure that everything checks out before you even appoint this particular person. So we play quite a crucial role when it comes to the recruitment process and the employee life cycle. So we need to do it right the first time so that we avoid speculations or uncertainty when it comes to, does this person have a qualification or do they not have a qualification? So yes, this is a sad story that Mr. Lani, or Dr. Lani rather, is now facing these... Mr. Lani is facing now these challenges that he's facing, and there's certain departments like Department of Health, Helen Josephs, that are now being dragged onto the story because we don't know what we don't know. But just to educate, to say, take this as a lesson to ensure that you put things in place for your employees. Once you have vetted them, everything checks out, then you ensure that they're safe within the parameters of the organization also. So while touching on security, what would be your viewpoint when it comes to the TikToks rather, that Mr. Lani used to do at Helen Joseph at their corridors?
Zanele, before I talk about security, because that's also another scary part, because in some organizations, there's big organizations, but I'll get to that, right? I just want to go back to with the recruitment process. You mentioned quite an important thing that we are a crucial role, or we have a crucial part to play with onboarding and getting people within an organization, right? And at times we are put under pressure because of the pressure that comes from business, right? At times you might find that we have been looking for an individual, or we've been trying to fill the position. It's taking so long, not because we are delaying the process, but because it might be a scarce skill. It might be that it's very difficult to find suitable candidates that meet the budget that we have. And business is pressurizing us just to say, I need a person. Whereas maybe other recruiters at times would feel, you know what, just to satisfy business and make sure that I fill this gap because there's definitely a need. I'll do the processes afterwards, which is something that we are saying. I would rather take longer just to ensure that I'm comfortable and place in the correct person, making sure that I've gone through the processes. We are in the education sector, right? That for us is also very crucial because we've got children. So we need to make sure with our checks that the person that we are recruiting has qualifications, is SACE registered, and has a valid SACE certification, as well as that they don't or they are not in the sex offenders list. So if we miss those things and later on we've placed these people in the classroom, what then happens?
It puts the kids at risk.
It just puts the company into disrepute. The image of the company is just not going to be good. So rather just focus on making sure that as much as the processes are long, just make sure that they are done correctly. And then from there on, then obviously you are at peace because you know things are done correctly.
And also while you're still on that, you mentioning now reputation, which plays a significant role for a lot of organizations, all of them actually.
All of them.
Because if, for example, we are suspected of having hired someone who is a sex offender, and you find that now employees are complaining about sexual harassment in the workplace, it goes back to now when the investigations are being done, and it's only now that it is discovered that this person is a sex offender. It goes back to, but why wasn't it discovered before this person was brought in?
Why were the processes not followed in the beginning?
Yes. And then it questions the whole organization to say, it means everyone who's there hasn't been vetted. So you're busy taking people in and out of a schooling environment, for example, and our kids are at risk. So if our kids are at risk, what happens? Parents are pulling out their kids.
Exactly, because we want a conducive environment for our kids.
Exactly.
If one case starts, then clearly, like you said, all your educators are not qualified.
Yes. All of them. How do we know that they've got the qualifications?
Exactly.
How do we know that they are
vetted.
SACE registered? How do we know that they are not sex offenders and whatnot? So those are the things that would then tarnish the organization itself, and you might find other employees who are innocent in this story having to lose their employment, income, those families being affected. There's a bigger picture to everything that I think we need to analyze and understand and stand our grounds when it comes to the processes. That is why we have those processes, regardless of whether you are pushed or you are pressed because it was scarce to find that person. As much as it was scarce, rather make sure that you've got the right person. Because at the end of the day, you've got the person, it's not the right person because the vetting process is not followed, right? And you find that the qualification is not there and whatnot. Then you bring the person. Now you have to ensure that you exit the person legally wise, and that will consume time, whereas now you don't have the person working, which is much more time. You have to start the process again. So doing it right the first time always wins, honestly.
And I think you and I had a discussion sometime this week about knowing your responsibility and your role. You know, even if you've been put under pressure, stick to that because you are following. A policy is there to guide, right? And if you follow the policy and ensure that you work according to the policy, you can't go wrong. Because in that particular case, if something goes wrong in that, and business comes back to you and says, it was your responsibility. You know the rules. You can't go back and say, but I was pressured. What is your responsibility, madam?
Yes.
You know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. These are the processes that we are following because we want to run away from this.
And you're telling the truth. Sorry to disturb you there. Once it goes wrong, it always goes
It comes
back to you.
But it's your job. Fair enough, it's your job. If you are being pressurized, can we just we've said this in previous episodes, right? That things are sorted and solved by communicating. Communicate to business. Because at times they wouldn't know. So if you just give in, they act according to you agreed. So if you would say to business, yes, I understand how important it is to get a person right now, but we need to follow this based on this. I don't think there is a business out there that would say, no, just, just go ahead and employ the person who do. So it's also our responsibility because it's very important. We've had SACE a couple of weeks ago that also arrested 2 candidates that were there to register for SACE certificate. And they were found with fraudulent qualifications. So it is there in the market. It is out there. So as HR people, we need to be vigilant. We need to go through the correct processes and ensure that we put things into place.
True. Very true.
So can I go back to your question? I'm sorry. I needed to put it out there. One last thing. And I mean, with these checks as well, the validity of the checks, they're valid for a certain period, Even if I'm appointed, we still need to put some sort of processes, maybe just to check that our employees are still, doing, depending on the industry as well. Depending on the industry, I mean, like I said, with teaching, it's crucial that we need to follow up and make sure that our teachers are still the people that we want standing in front of the learners, because it's very important. We are concerned about the safety of the learners, right? So going back to your question, I'm sorry, I dropped off. So in terms of security, I was a bit, maybe hospitals, I don't have experience in, working in that industry. Yes, we've had a medical aid scheme that we worked with, but it wasn't a hospital, right? And I don't know the checks that are being done to ensure people that work there. But if you have somebody posing as a doctor walking down the corridors of a hospital, it's quite scary.
It is.
So again, safety and security then plays a huge part in organizations, because I mean, in our organizations, we're a small company, we know each other, so that's sorted. But in big companies, I can't be expected to know everybody. So I mean, you wouldn't know whether the person is actually the employee of the company. So things must just be put in place.
Like access control. I mean, if we were to look at the statement that was issued by the Gauteng Department of Health, I'm just going to scan through it because it's quite a lengthy statement. So they do mention that they've opened a case of impersonating against this particular doctor, and it also mentions that Lonnie managed to weave his way into the system pretending to be in employ of Helen Joseph Hospital, where he moved around the hospital corridors, curating content for social media. We're going to come back to this, but while we're still on that, how does a hospital security allow someone to take footage in a hospital where there's patients? There could be someone who, for example, people who are giving birth, sometimes they walk around naked because of the pains and whatnot. What if that incident happens on the corridors?
Because we don't say, I can't say much about that because I haven't seen his videos based on that, but things could happen.
Could have happened, So privacy-wise, I think Opopi would also come in here to say we need to be protecting employees as well as the patients from such. But anyway, it then further says that further investigations have revealed that the doctor, Zanele Zingelwa, the name which Lonnie claims is his real name, belongs to a second-year medical intern at Tembisa Provincial Tertiary Hospital. The real Dr. Zanele Sobani Vambani Zingelwa has since opened another case of identity fraud at the Tembisa Hospital.
Yeah.
On June 16, 2022, the Gauteng Department of Health ran a campaign across its facilities as part of Youth Month commemorations, where young medical professionals were asked to send in their video clips on what it means for them to be born-free, born after 1994. Lani was one of the participants, and this was the only time the department ever worked with him. At the time, there was nothing that raised suspicions that he was not a person in the employ of the facility. In October 2022, Lani recorded a video complaining of non-payment as a medical intern at Helen Joseph Hospital. The complaint caught the attention of the department and was referred to the management of the hospital to look into the matter. Subsequently, Lani was contacted by the CEO and asked to present himself at the facility's human resource unit to address this complaint. He then confirmed that this matter was receiving attention and even deleted the video he had posted on TikTok at the time, as he felt it was drawing unnecessary attention. That's a lot. When it just raises a lot of questions, right? Because when in 2022, he claimed that he was an intern and he wasn't paid by the hospital itself. Once it reached the CEO, was there an investigation that came about? You know, not only contacting the person, but HR-wise, did they check if this person
was an employee?
Yes, because if things have to pertain with someone's salary, obviously they're going to be upset about it and whatnot. We don't want our employees not to be paid. Honestly speaking, everything that we do, also with the episode that we had of AJ, we spoke about people being at the center of everything.
Exactly.
As much as you have worked for these services, you need to be remunerated for these services. So I, as an HR person, it would raise eyebrows to me to say, can I just go double check if this person was loaded onto the system and was paid as they're claiming now not to be paid? When did they start? Those kind of things would have raised questions so that we can then get to the bottom of it. I think we would have known the truth back in 2022 if that was done.
Yeah. But I think, it just raised a lot of eyebrows, and that's the reason why we wanted to talk about it today. Just, not specifically dwelling into what his shenanigans are, because those have been touched.
Yeah.
But just to raise awareness of the importance of vetting as part of your processes within the company, just so that you protect your employees as well, in this whole situation, to protect the reputation of the company. Because now with social media being the way it is, everything is put out there. And like you said, one rotten potato spoils
the rest.
So,
And also for HR to always remember their responsibility when such things happen. Let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to where it all started, so that we can make sure that, okay, everything was done. We are aware of, as much as it could be big companies like ABSA, MTN, where there's a lot of employees. But even with those big companies, there's like processes that needs to be followed. So can we go back to those processes and make sure as HR people that we check each and every box has been ticked and has been ticked correctly, so that we avoid such situations. So this is a learning curve for everyone to say, even if it hasn't happened,
now it's time
for you to start.
Yeah. So maybe just one thing, Zanele, before we continue, because I'm getting some things, or that we have a game or something like that. Just one last part. You raised an important thing where we're saying this should be a lesson, for companies, for us as HR people as well, just to be vigilant, to start if we didn't have those processes. Then if somebody says, okay, we're not such a big company where we can actually have an in-house vetting system, where do we go about? So there's companies like, for example, MIE, where they have zones all around, where if you don't have a system internally, you can just go onto their website and then can book a session with a particular zone that is close to your office or close to where the candidate is, just so that at least it makes it easier for you, and then you just pay the service provider and then that's your uncle.
It's not like before where you needed to wait 6 months
Exactly.
from the police station for them to give you the results or whatnot. Things have changed. Now you get your results 1 to 2 days. It's simple. So can we just familiarize ourselves with such companies so that we can then start doing the right things? Okay. So we hear that there is a game.
I don't like it when we have games because we put under pressure.
Right. So maybe we can hear what the game is all about, and then we can take it from there. Okay. There's nose. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Are these
so I'm
mine?
not getting anything.
Oh,
thank
okay.
you.
Okay. What is the game about?
This reminds me of the last game that we played. Is this a reminder that now I need to... I need to call out my name?
Are we calling out names? What are the rules to this game?
Yeah, so the name of the game is Who's Most Likely To. So I'm gonna ask you guys questions about you.
Okay.
About us.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so you know the game.
Is that
right?
personal questions or corporate?
Both.
Oh, I'm not a doctor. Who's most likely to be a doctor?
Ah, now you know it. Okay, cool. First question. So let me start from the end. First question. Ne? Who's most likely to help a stranger?
Oh. Oh, can we put two?
You can.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know.
But the rules of the games are not even explained.
I thought you guys knew the game because we played it
Okay.
before.
We're going to play it the way we understand it.
Okay. Second question. Who's most likely to loan one a pencil?
To loan
Loan.
one a pencil. Ugh. No, she's lying. We've got office pens, and she's the police for those. She does. Don't
I
lie.
can defend myself. I do loan. Even when you're here, I loan you my book and my pen, right? The only reason why I don't like it with the office pens is that every now and then there's a new pen that they're taking out with company resources, guys. Hey. So yes, I do protect company resources. I'm that guy.
Okay.
All right. Third question. Oh, by the way, I have, I think, about 10 questions. Right?
10 questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
third question.
Yeah.
Who's most likely to talk bad about people on a Zoom meeting without muting their mic?
We don't talk bad about people, but we forget to mute. No, but we don't forget to mute, but we always remind each other, did you mute? And we don't talk bad about people.
Hmm.
Oh, shame.
I didn't get the answer.
No one.
Fine.
Oh, okay. Question number 4. Who's most likely to forget to text back?
Let me not say anything. Let me not say anything. Just.
Question number 5. Who's most likely to have 40 tabs open at once?
I'm a multitasker.
Okay, number 6. Who's most likely to get blocked by a celebrity on social media?
I'm not like
We're both
yeah,
not
just
in.
not on social media. Yeah.
Okay, who's most likely to laugh at serious matters?
I'm so embarrassed.
Okay, who's most likely to pick their nose when they think when they think no one is watching?
No, I've never seen.
No one. All right. Okay, I'm not sure if it's question number 8 or 7, but anyway. Who's most likely to appear in a music video?
Hi. Okay, clearly we think of ourselves as stars in this office. Because I think. But what would I be doing in a music video? Dancing.
Probably
Oh.
doing TikTok challenges, because I know you love TikTok a lot. Anyway, following question. Who's most likely to forget their wallet at McDonald's? This is probably the last question. I don't know. Where are we? Okay, who's most likely to cheat when playing board games?
She has done it before.
When did I cheat?
The question, I'm not over it. The question about Gold of City. She's done it. I've got proof. She's done it. I'm not over it. The question about Gold of City.
How did I cheat on that question?
Pretending like that was the first time she knew about it.
I still remember.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you very much. Thank you.
But she's like, that's not cheating.
She tells me she doesn't trust me because I don't have a contract. Okay, next question.
No, that was actually the last question.
That was the last question.
Yes.
Okay, that was nice.
That was nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the game.
Yeah.
Come. Thank you so much, Noel, for being our guest today.
I really appreciate it.
Being on the other side.
Feels different, but I'll get used to it.
Like we always say, guys, what is the line? You can cut that out.
Alright, guys, thank you very much for watching. So, with our podcast, we're trying to educate everybody or people that are watching the podcast. So, even with this particular episode, we were just trying to educate, just with the trending topics. Let's find something where, because we also fit in, as HR professionals. What is it that we can clean up? What is it that we can introduce? So like I always say, you don't have to take everything from the podcast or from the episode, but at least take one thing with you. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, adios. Bye.
1,